I think one thing that my dad has always done is said, like, Sarah, do you know what I love about your mom? Do you know what I love about Jordan? Do you know what I love about you? Everything. And that's what I love about him, everything. So he's very hard to sum up.
I've come to know James as a man of very deep faith, uh, very compassionate, a true caring heart, and someone of deep wisdom. And he shares that with all who he comes into contact with.
I view James as a natural born leader. He inspires people. He steps up to whatever challenge he faces, and those around him often end up making him their go to guy.
So I came to know James through his service on the Genesis Healthcare System board. And he's been on the board for more than 10 years. He currently serves as our board chair. And the number of hours and dedication that he has given to our organization is a big part of kind of who we are today.
I think my dad loves to celebrate me and celebrate other people. I ran cross country growing up, and so he would jog along and like wave this giant Scotties flag at cross country meets. One of my favorite memories of him celebrating other people is at my cousin Jamin's graduation. When they called his name, he literally went over to the marching band and took the poor kid's cymbals and like started crashing them.
So not only has James been a devoted husband to his wife Lisa, but he's also been a loving father to his kids Sarah and Michael, now grown adults themselves.
They would leave to go run errands together, and then they would come home and they would tell a story about some fun activity that they did with Dad. One time they went down to Dillon Lake and built a raft out of just whatever they could find there on the beach. And then they launched the raft, and that was the project for the day. But he was always about fun, and I really love that about him. Loves making people smile. So it's been making me smile for 36 years now.
So my dad was very present growing up and still is very present now. He always answers my phone calls. So even if he's in the middle of a board meeting, or I called him like a couple months ago and he answered and was very whispery and was like, Sarah, can I call you back? I'm on stage at Muskingum about to give the commencement speech. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, you can call me back.
We were shopping for Christmas presents in December, and we were at a mall shopping in a store in the men's department, and I looked over and he's trying on a suit jacket, which is very unlike him because he hardly ever buys anything for himself. He's always very selflessly looking at what he can do for other people. And he's trying on the suit jacket, and I walked a little closer, and these two women are standing and they're looking back at him, and here they had asked him to try on the suit jacket for somebody that they wanted to purchase that for, and so he was being the model.
I can say that in all the places I've been and all the things that I've done, I've never been more impressed by anybody than I have by my dad. Been working with heads of state, ambassadors, presidents, kings. I've never met a wiser man than my dad. In over a decade in special operations as a Green Beret, I've never met a more dedicated, trustworthy, diligent man than my dad.
Really, he eulogized my sister Helen. She wanted that. My oldest sister passed away June 14th, 2010, and she wanted James to eulogize her, and he did. So whatever he's asked to do, he wants to do that. He does do that. He's special that way. He's really special.
On the night after our daughter had passed, she died to suicide, and we were surrounded by hundreds, literally hundreds of friends and families. And my son said that he walked into the living room and there was James sitting in the living room on the couch, just quietly. We were surrounded with prayer, love, and there was James just waiting if we needed any help or assistance, which of course we did, so that he counseled our family, after that for as long as we needed it. There are so many wonderful stories about the McDonald family. It was a lovely Christian family in Putnam, very meager in monetary means, but so much love that all of us that had heard the stories before just would love to see them all written down.
So, I was born into a family of 10 children. I was number 9. James was number 8.
So all 5 of us boys were in the same room at one time. It made us very close. We were smelling toes because one was up at the head of the bed and somebody else was down at the bottom, and it was fun. We had a wonderful childhood. We grew up together that way, and it was nice.
And there was an understanding that you didn't leave the dinner table until you had finished absolutely everything on your plate. But James would never finish. So as the rest of the family would leave for church, James would remain seated at the table. So, whether or not intentionally, James was always able to avoid Bible study by not finishing his dinner. Fast forwarding to present day, James is now a devout Christian leader. So he obviously made up for missing all those Bible studies.
Jimmy grew up under our strict father, Frank B. And I think he gave our father fits. He gave our father fits, man, because just because two different dynamics. Jimmy was this precocious, really wired, high energy, young, talented kid, and my father couldn't handle him.
We were raised as preachers' kids, and so we were at church all the time. Church, home, church, home. One service, after one service would get long, you know, for us, because we'd have, you know, the praise time, the whatever, and the preaching. And we'd have a tendency to fall asleep on the bench, and we'd lay down on the bench and fall asleep, no problem. And so one night, we left James at church on the bench. Nobody, listen to this, 2 beds. There were 2 beds in the boys' room, 2 beds in the girls' room, 5 and 5. Those brothers, what amazed me was those brothers didn't miss him until morning. And my dad, we saw the soft side of my dad where he found out James wasn't in the house. He got up in his pajamas and put his coat on and drove to church and brought James home. And we tease him about that. And we say, yay, we had peace and quiet for at least one night without you.
So, as an example, as a role model of what a man is, I can't say thank you enough for who you've been and how you've been in my life. Thank you for being everything you are, and you mean the world to me, Dad. I love you.